Okay, Assalamualaikum. So our group will be present about the MFRS 15, which is revenue from contract with the customers. So in this presentation, the presenter will be Nurul Aiman,
Me, Anisha Pika.
My name is Eliza Azmira.
and my name is Nur Afika. Okay, so we will start our presentation now.
Firstly, MSP introduced this MFRS 15 because to provide one comprehensive revenue recognition model for all contracts with customers to improve comparability within industry, across industry and across capital markets. It effectively from 1 January 2018 and it replaced most revenue recognition standards. When come to 5-step model to recognize the revenue with customer, firstly, step 1, identify contracts with customer, which means a contract create enforceability, right and obligation. It may be written, oral, implied by customary business practice. Okay, continue with step 2. Identify separate performance obligation in the contract. Performance obligation are promised in a contract to transfer goods and services, including those a customer can resell and provide to its customer. Use the model indicator to separate the performance obligation if they are capable of being distinguished and if they are distinguished on the context of the contracts, separately identifiable from the other promised in the contract. Step 3. Determine the transaction price. Step 4. Allocate the transaction price, which is transaction price should be allocated to distinguished performance obligation based on relative standalone selling price. Step 5. Recognize revenue when the performance obligation is satisfied. Recognize revenue when the promised good or service are transferred to the customer and customer obtain the controls. Okay, next we come to the main parties that involved in the development or formulation of the MFRS 15 itself. The International Accounting Standard Board IASB issued the IFRS 15 revenue for contract with customer in May 2014. IFRS 15 set up the requirement for recognizing revenue that apply to all contract with customer except for contract that within the scope of the standard on lease, insurance contract and financial instruments. The issuance of IFRS 15 signifies the culmination of a joint project with the US National Standard Center, the Financial Accounting Standard Board (FASB), to develop a high-quality global accounting standards for the revenue recognitions. IFRS 15, which is converged with Accounting Standard Update 2014-09 revenue for contract with customer issued by the FASB, establish a single comprehensive framework for the revenue recognitions. Okay, continue. The framework will be applied consistently across the transactions, industries and capital market, and it will improve capability in the top line of the financial statement of company globally. IFRS 15 actually replaced the previous revenue standard, which is IAS 18 revenue and IAS 11 construction contract, and the related interpretation on revenue recognition, IFRIC 30 customer loyalty program, IFRIC 15 agreement for construction of real estate, IFRIC 18 transfer of asset from customer, and IC30 revenue, barter transaction involve advertising service. The ASB and the FASB has formed a group of external stakeholders to identify and discuss this matter that may arise in the implementation of IFRS 15 and Accounting Standard Update 2014 and 9. That's all for me.
So next I'm going to present about 3 theories that are related to MFRS 15 revenue from contract with the customers. So the first theory is regarding the positive accounting theory. So for positive accounting theory is based on the empirical evidence from the real event, and it focuses on understanding, explanation and prediction of accounting practice. So we know that positive accounting theory is based on explanation. It seeks for an explanation. So this occurs when the management they act based on their interest, personal interest and benefits. So the effective date for the adoption of MFRS 15 is on 15 January 2017. So what are the managers are trying to do is that they are trying to adjust the timing of adoption to maximize their own interests. So MFRS 15 requires an entity to recognize revenue to divide the transfer of promised goods or services to customers. So companies, they must identify the transaction price in order to record the transaction. The transaction price is adjusted for the effects of any time, the time value of money that includes a significant financing component for any consideration payable to the customers. So next we are going to see the normative theory. So we know that normative theory doesn't seek for an explanation. It just describes as the defining the things. Normative theory focuses on what it should be rather than seeking an explanation for the theory. This approach is using to match up the changing work environment with the accounting procedures. The basic objective is to provide a certain uses of accounting reports by providing a useful accounting data. MFRS 15 requires entity to provide information about the revenue recognized from contract with customers. This is to provide the users of financial statements with a comprehensive information for the external users to use the financial statement. And finally, it's related to the regulatory theory. So regulatory theory is the embodiment of accounting standards in accordance to accountants' works. And the reason we use the regulatory theory is because we want to examine this theory to understand why some accounting prescriptions becomes part of legislation and while others are not. Accounting standard setting is a political interest and each of it have their own benefits. MFRS 15, which is the revenue from contract with customers, includes a cohesive set of disclosure requirements that will result in an entity providing users of financial statements. MFRS 15 is issued by the MASB so that any transaction with customers should be disclosed in the financial statement. So an entity shall apply this standard for annual reporting periods beginning on or after 1st January 2017. If an entity applies this standard earlier, it shall disclose the fact in the financial statement. So that's all from me. Next, we are going to the next present.
Okay, so we move to the next section, which is the what the basis used to verify MFRS 15 and what is the nature of the MFRS 15. Okay, for the basis used to verify MFRS 15, there are some bases that can be used to verify the must be MFRS, such as dogmatic, which is a basis or theory that already approved and reviewed by an authority. Self-evident and also self-evident, which is a basis that value the reasonable based on our general knowledge, experience and observation. Okay, next is scientific basis is basis used to verify an accounting theory based on testing, research and experimentation. So in MFRS 15, the basis used to verify the standard is dogmatic basis. The dogmatic basis is simply said that we accept the statement made by the people who has the authority. It is used when people believe in a statement because of confidence in the person or group issuing that statement. Dogmatism becomes a basis for the accountant to accept the validity of rules and procedure in accounting. This basis will lead the users to believe what they read and statement that result from that basis. This basis will generate a theory and will be considered as a factual evidence and concept because users believe that theory has been approved or verified by someone who has the authority to prove that. And also in MFRS 15, which is revenue from contract with customers, the standards has been approved, reproduced from IFRS. The statement in the MFRS 15 is taken from the IFRS with the approval from the authority. So MFRS is equivalent to IFRS 15, including which is issued by the IESB, including in the effective and issuance date. This means that the entity should comply with the MFRS will simultaneously be in compliance with IFRS 15. Okay, so we move to the nature of MFRS 15. There are two types of base of accounting standard, which is principle based standards and rule based standards. As we know, principle based accounting is that variety circumstances. Principle based is applied by the company in order to prepare their financial statement that provide the guideline for them. It used besides for the rule based accounting, it is a detailed rule that must be followed by the accountant when preparing the financial statement. If they do not follow this rule and then the penalty will be charged to them. Rule-based standard accounting have a very extensive and precise elaboration concerning which is allowed and what is not allowed. MFRS 15 is a principle base of accounting. This standard will be applied to all revenue contract with the customer. Application of this standard is mandatory in annual reporting standard starting from 1st January 2018 onwards, and earlier application is permitted. And also, a contract with the customer may be partially within the scope of IFRS 15 and partially within the scope of another standards. For instance, separations and measurements requirement will be applied first if the other standards specify how to separate and initially measure one or more parts of the contract. Then, if no other standards provide the guidance on how to separate the standard and initially measure that one or more part of the contract, the IFRS 15 will be applied. So this is show that accountant can choose the suitable standard in recognizing the revenue from contract with the customers. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
So next, I moving on to the limitation of MFRS 15. So there are some limitation of this MFRS that significantly affect the determination of the amount and timing of revenue from contract with the customer. First, MFRS 15 is significant judgment in the determine the timing of satisfaction of performance of obligation. It is complicated because entity shall disclose the method that used to recognize revenue. It may be explained a description of the output method or input method that used and how those methods are applied. An entity also should disclose explanation of why user provide a faithful presentation of the transfer goods and service. Then there are also judgment in determination of transaction price and the amount allocated to performance obligation. It is difficult to entity to disclose the information about the method, input and assumption in determine the transaction price. Next, the system also may be changed time to time. In order to gather this information that required in reporting as stated in MFRS 15, entity may require redesign and modification based on its IT system process. So this will make entity more confusing and it also have wider effect on its business. Next, I will continue about the suggestion and to cover this limitation. First, due to change of system and any future changes, any entity should provide the training to those who are affected by these changes so they can prepare something when the change happens. This may include the accountant, internal auditor and any person responsible in drawing up customer contract. They should always aware to the changes of the system so that whether any change happen, they can explain this to the current and future investor. Next, timing of revenue recognition change that will impact the entity tax, dividend and financial ratio. So in order to handle this limitation, entity should revise and alert with this contract and determine whether need to make some changes to prevent this problem. In addition, must be as a standard setter should simplify MFRS 15 so it's not be too complex. It will be more easy to understand and entity can implement it without difficulty. Plus, MSB also should give more simple exposure with the related MFRS so the entity can refer it with the compliance level and can present it fairly. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you for listening our presentation. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.